Welcome, seekers of the macabre, to another twisted crime tale. Tonight I invite you to step into a world of mystery, fear and sorrow, a story so grim and cryptic that even the shadows seem to whisper its name. This is the true, morbid tale of Elisa Samudio, a young woman whose life was marked by dreams, danger, and a fate so cruel it sends shivers down the spine. Stay with me, for every word hides a secret and every silence holds a clue. Elisa Samudio was born on a cold day, the 22nd of February 1985, in a small town far from the bright lights of the capital. Her home was in Foz de Huacu, a quiet place in Parana, where dreams were as fragile as glass. But from her very first breath, darkness lurked in the corners of her life. Her father, Luis Carlos Samudio, was an architect by trade, but his heart was as hard as stone. Her mother, Fatima Silva, was a humble farmer, tending to her small patch of land with hope and care. Yet even the warmth of a mother's love could not protect young Elisa from the cold cruelty of a broken home. When Elisa was only 6 months old, her parents split apart. The separation left behind wounds too deep to heal, for her father's anger burned like an endless fire, and he was known to hurt those who loved him. Fatima, desperate for a safe life for her daughter, fled to a distant place called Mato Grosso do Sol, where she began a new life with a small pepper farm and a fresh start. Elisa, however, was left behind with her violent father, who soon became a monster in her young life. For many years, the little girl was caught in a web of fear and sorrow as her father used her in ways no child should ever endure. When she was just a child, Elisa's laughter was stolen by the cruelty of a man who should have protected her. At the tender age of 10, her brave mother returned to claim her daughter. In a quiet, secret act of love, Fatima gathered Elisa and brought her away, promising a life free of terror. But fate, cruel as ever, would not let Elisa taste the sweetness of freedom for long. Her father's dark threats forced them back, and Elisa was dragged into a life filled with pain and abuse, a life that would leave scars on her heart forever. As Elisa grew, so did her dreams. She longed for a life of beauty and hope, a life where she could shine like a star. She dreamed of becoming a model, of stepping onto bright stages, and even falling in love with a famous footballer. The world of football was like a magic show for her, filled with heroes and glittering trophies, a stark contrast to the grim reality of her childhood. When Elisa turned 18, she decided she would no longer be held down by her past. With a heart full of hope, she left the oppressive home of her father and moved to the bustling city of São Paulo. But the city, as bright as it seemed, held its own shadows. With little money and no friends to call her own, Elisa was forced to work in the dark corners of society. She took jobs that many would shy away from, including working as a prostitute, in order to survive in a city that did not care for the dreams of a broken girl. Yet, despite the hardships, Elisa never lost sight of her dream to become a model. She worked hard, gracing runways and magazine pages, and even hosted events in the glamorous world of football. It was at these events that fate set her on a path that would forever change her life. A path that led her to Bruno Fernandes de Sousa, a famous football goalkeeper with a life of secrets of his own. Bruno was born in 1984 in the bustling city of Belo Horizonte. His life revolved around the sport he loved, and he was a star on the field. Many say that fate played its hand when Bruno met Elisa. Some whispered that their eyes first met at a cheerful barbecue in 2008, while others claimed it was at a wild party in May 2009, a night when the line between pleasure and peril blurred. That night, something unexpected happened. Bruno and Elisa shared a secret moment, a moment wrapped in both passion and danger. They used a condom to keep safe, but in a twist of cruel fate, the condom broke. This small accident would later haunt both of them, for it marked the beginning of a dark journey neither could escape. Bruno was already married. He lived a life filled with secrets and extra affairs. Yet for a short while, he promised Elisa things that made her heart flutter with hope, a promise of love and a future together. In those fleeting days, she believed that her dreams of love and a happy family might finally come true. But as the days turned into weeks, the true nature of Bruno began to show. The love he had promised was as empty as a ghost's whisper. When Elisa revealed she was pregnant, the cruel reality hit her like a cold wind. Bruno, trapped by his own lies and the weight of his secrets, urged her to end the pregnancy. He even paid people to force her hand, but Elisa's heart could not bear the thought of losing her baby. Determined to bring life into a dark world, she decided to keep the child. In October 2009, Elisa took a brave stand. She went to the police and told them of Bruno's threats and the dangerous secrets that haunted their secret love. She spoke of a night filled with danger and a broken promise, a night when a simple act of love became a turning point toward a tragic end. The police listened, and a judge ordered Bruno to stay far away from her, a command that could not erase the dark promise that fate had sealed. As the months passed, hope and despair danced in Elisa's heart. In February 2010, she gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. The hospital bills were paid by Bruno, yet his heart remained cold and distant. He only met the baby 4 months later, and even then his care was as fleeting as a shadow. On the 4th of June 2010, Elisa sent one last message to her friends and family. It was a message full of hope, for she believed that Bruno might change, that he might finally honor the promises he had once made. But that day marked the beginning of a nightmare. Soon after, the voices of those who loved her began to fall silent. No more phone calls, no more messages, just an eerie quiet that spoke of a fate too grim to imagine. The police started to search for Elisa and her baby. Rumors spread like wildfire, and soon the media was full of whispers about the troubled life of the woman who dared to dream. Bruno, who had once promised a future together, now only repeated strange stories about that fateful night, a night when nothing was as it seemed. Then, on the 24th of June, a chilling call came in, a call that shattered the last fragments of hope. Someone told the police that Elisa had been killed. Her clothes were burned, and her body was hidden in a lonely farm in Minas Gerais, a property owned by none other than Bruno himself. The news was like a thunderclap in the dark, and the hunt for the truth began in earnest. Days turned into a tense waiting game as the police searched high and low for any sign of Elisa. The only clue came on the 26th of June, when a baby was found in the care of a woman named Fernanda Castro. Fernanda was one of Bruno's lovers, and her story was as murky as the dark water of a midnight river. Then, on the 28th of June, the police searched one of Bruno's properties. There, hidden among everyday items, they found a trail of evidence. A set of women's clothes, baby items, and even diapers. In Bruno's car, they discovered something far more disturbing: traces of blood that matched Elisa's. A pair of black high-heel shoes and a pair of glasses, items known to belong to Elisa, were also found. Each piece of evidence was a whisper from the past, a clue in a puzzle that was growing more ominous by the day. But the dark secret was yet to be fully revealed. On the 6th of July, the police made a shocking arrest. A 17-year-old boy named Sergio, who was Bruno's cousin. In a confession that was as chilling as the night wind, Sergio told the police a story that seemed torn from a nightmare. He said that he, along with Bruno's best friend, known by the name Macaron, and a cold, ruthless hitman, had taken part in a plan so twisted it defied belief. Sergio's words painted a picture of a plan born of greed and fear. He told how in early June 2010, Bruno had called Elisa to one of his lonely properties in Minas Gerais. The plan was not to talk about love or hope, but to take her away, to stop her from asking for what was rightfully hers. In a car, Elisa, her baby, Macaron and Sergio were all together. Sergio carried a gun, an instrument meant to frighten, not to save. A struggle began. Elisa fought hard and even grabbed the gun, but soon the dark plan took a terrible turn. Sergio hit her on the head with the gun until she fell into a deep sleep, a sleep from which she would never wake. At a remote property owned by Bruno, the nightmare reached its peak. There, Elisa's things were gathered and burned, a terrible attempt to erase her from the world. Bruno had said that no harm should come to the baby, that the child would be safe for now. But as Sergio continued his tale, a final horrifying act unfolded. A hitman, a man named Marcos Aparecido dos Santos, a former policeman turned cold killer, entered the scene. He took a tie, a simple strip of cloth, and used it to strangle Elisa. Her life slipped away as she pleaded in silent terror. Then came the most gruesome part. The hitman cut Elisa's body into pieces, placing the broken parts into a black bag. He found 4 large Rottweiler dogs nearby. One by one, he fed them the pieces of Elisa until there was nearly nothing left. Some of her bones were taken, though the truth of that act remains as murky as a midnight fog. With each grisly detail, the case grew darker. A puzzle with many missing pieces. The story did not end with the brutal act. The police, armed with Sergio's confession and the haunting evidence, finally moved to arrest Bruno and his partners in this nightmare. On the 9th of July, the police planned a raid on Bruno's home, but he was nowhere to be found. Later, both he and his best friend turned themselves in. Bruno claimed he had nothing to do with the murder, and his words were as hollow as a ghost's echo. In the weeks that followed, the world watched as the case grew into a media storm. Elisa's family was left to face the dark truth. Her mother, Fatima, fought for custody of Elisa's baby. At first, the custody was given to Elisa's estranged father, Luis Carlos, but soon Fatima made a brave case that he was not fit to care for the child. The judge listened, and soon the baby was placed safely in Fatima's arms. A paternity test later confirmed that Bruno was indeed the father, a twist that made the dark tale even more bitter. The courtroom became a stage for secrets and lies. Marcos Aparecido, the hitman, was sentenced to 22 years in prison, and another woman, Fernanda, received a 5-year sentence for her role. Bruno's trial was long and full of twists. At one point, he was even released on parole, only to be caught again when the truth about Elisa's blood in his car came to light. His life on the field, a life of fame and fortune, crumbled as he was fired from his football club. Even as he later found a way to live with semi-freedom, his dark past never left him, and the questions about what truly happened that night still echoed in every court and every dark alley. Today, Bruno still roams free on a thin thread of semi-liberty. He searches for a new football club and even gives talks to other prisoners about sports. A strange twist of fate for a man whose hands are stained with the darkest secrets. And as for Elisa, her remains have never been found. Her mother, still haunted by the loss, continues to search for the final piece of her broken heart, a place to lay her daughter to rest. Imagine a night so dark that even the stars hide their light. In that night, a plan was set in motion, a plan that would silence a woman forever. Picture the cold, harsh hands of fate, twisting the lives of those caught in its grip. A young girl with dreams of beauty and love, betrayed by those who promised her safety, only to be led into a trap where pain, fear, and cruelty reign supreme. The final moments, shrouded in mystery, leave us with a question that chills the soul. Where in the depths of darkness do the remains of Elisa lie? The silence of the night holds the answer, but it is a secret that may never be told. Each detail, each piece of evidence whispers to us from the shadows, a reminder that even in our modern world, the ghosts of past wrongs and hidden crimes still wander among us. The story of Elisa Samudio is not just one of a broken dream, it is a cautionary tale that warns us about the dangers of hidden cruelty and the dark side of human ambition. Now, dear viewers, as we close tonight's chapter on this twisted tale, ask yourself, what do you believe happened to Elisa's remains? Could the secret still be hidden in the dark corners of a lonely property, waiting for the truth to be uncovered? The case may be over in the eyes of the law, but for those who care, the mystery is not yet solved. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Share your theories, and let us know if you have ever felt that the darkest secrets hide in plain sight. Your voice matters in the search for truth, and every word you share adds a new piece to this grim puzzle. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the shadows. If you like this tale, subscribe to Twisted Crime Tales for more stories that will send shivers down your spine. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video, and follow me on social media, where I share even more secrets from the depths of the unknown. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your mind sharp and your heart brave. In the world of twisted crime, the truth is often hidden in the darkest corners, waiting for someone like you to bring it into the light. Good night, and beware the shadows.